Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to season 4, episode 39 of Hit the Books, the podcast all about sports betting, the best bets you should be taking and everything surrounding sports. Here this week, we are in the NHL Finals, the NBA Finals, full swing here in the MLB, NFL heating up with mini camp starting here this week. Positional rankings also starting for us here in the NFL this week, and the U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club here in Pittsburgh this Father's Day weekend. So lots to go over this week with Huff and Ace with me this week. Let's introduce them. Huff, get us started. What do you got for us?
Yeah, obviously the two finals were kind of in the midst of these series with Game 3 tonight in the NBA. As we're recording this, obviously tomorrow we get Game 4 in the NHL Stanley Cup Final. Obviously, two have been great so far. The two series have been great so far. I want to say, obviously, Game 1 we saw the Pacers, what no one thought they were going to do, go into Oklahoma City, win a game. Halliburton does it again. And then obviously Thunder get their job done in game 2, similar to what the Panthers did in game 3. I'm excited for the rest of these series.
Heck yeah, we definitely got some news and things before we jump into those series. But Ace, what do you got for us here coming into
Yeah,
this
like
week?
yeah, like Huff said, we got the two finals underway, so those are definitely exciting to talk about. Got some other good events around the corner. A good month of UFC cards. June, got fight week coming up. Got some good golf going on. Scotty Scheffler carrying the load. NHL draft around the corner. NFL, the OTAs just wrapped up with training camp quickly approaching. So some NFL stuff happened. I know you got some big news over there in Pittsburgh. I don't know. The two of you are kind of polar opposites on how you feel about it. But and then baseball's in full swing too. We see the All-Star game voting opening up now, so that means we're fully entrenched in the season. So got a lot of stuff going on across all the leagues here. I'm ready to get going on another week.
Heck yeah, lots of good stuff. Like you said, me and Huff, polar opposites on the recent news in Pittsburgh. MLB in full swing, but we will get to all of that here. Starting out here, though, in the NHL, the Dallas Stars have fired their head coach, Peter DeBoer, after 3 consecutive conference finals exits. Was this the right move for Dallas, and who is the right man for the job to get the Stars over this hump? Ace, you want to get us going?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is a lesson for those Dallas Stars, a lesson for the head coaches throughout the league. Don't pull your starting goaltender in a must-win game
He's a
and then
top 2
completely
goalie in the NHL.
flame him in your press conference afterwards. The team will gladly kick you out the door before they kick out their franchise goaltender who's locked up for a long time. Second best American goaltender, one of the best in the world, top 5, top 10, however you see it. I think they pulled the plug too quick
I
and get
think
a
he's
little.
closer to top 3, top 2. He might be
Yeah,
second behind Hellebuck.
American, he's top 2, but in the world, I think he's top 5, top 10. I'm gonna give those Russians a little bit of an edge there. You got Igor, you got, uh, what's his
I like
name?
his height over
Sorokin,
Igor, but that's a
Vazzy.
different conversation.
Yeah, a lot of different names, but regardless, I mean, the comeback those Stars had too, they put a little bit of a comeback on, and you pulled the plug, the panic button was pressed hard by Peter DeBoer, and he can't seem to get the Stars out of the hump, which is the Western Conference Finals. And you asking about who is the right man for the job? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think they know either. It's somebody that's got to come in with a winning pedigree, a new voice, or maybe they go in a new direction like the Edmonton Oilers did and go with someone completely new who's brought them the Stanley Cups back-to-back years. But they have the roster to do it. The GM is putting together the best team on paper you possibly can. So it's a great situation to walk into, but I'm eager to see who's still left on the market for them to grab.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who the answer is gonna be, but DeBoer getting fired again out of the Western Conference Finals is that has to be a first in coaching history, don't you think? He's not been
Yeah.
fired after going to the conference finals
Well,
with the Sharks, going to
those
the conference
Edmonton
finals with the
Oilers, though,
Knights
I
and
mean,
the Stars.
the Edmonton Oilers recently did that, and then they went to Stanley Cup Finals in back-to-back years. Paul Maurice was brought into the Florida Panthers, had success right away. So it's not too often we see that. And as a Boston Bruins fan, I mean, I see great seasons slip away, and those coaches get tossed to the side, and then they go and have a lot of success elsewhere, which I expect Peter DeBoer to do too. Crazy though that all these teams that were in need of a head coach, you guys, us, some of the West Coast teams, we went and hired our coaches, and now one of the top talents is back on the market. So I'm eager to see where he lands. I'm assuming he'll get a job pretty easily, and I'm eager
Yeah,
to see what's still left from the scrap heap for the Dallas Stars to pick up.
yeah.
Heck yeah, boys. Big shakeup there for the Dallas Stars. Ace, like you said, a lot of other teams here looking for coaches and already did their due diligence, and they're now faced with a big name on the board. But a retirement here coming out of the league. TJ Oshie has announced his retirement from the NHL. The veteran forward missed the entire season due to a reoccurring back injury. He played 1,010 games during the regular season across 16 seasons, spent the first 7 seasons with the St. Louis Blues after being a first-round pick in the 2005 NHL Draft. 2015, he was traded to Washington, and he would win a Stanley Cup with them in 2018. Great career for TJ Oshie. Always a solid name across the board, no matter where he was playing. Any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I was always a big Oshie guy ever since the what was it, Sochi
American
Olympics when he
hero,
did
as big as you can get in sports
wh
lore.
when he how many shootout shots did he do, like,
I
6?
feel like 7 or
It was
8, and it was
crazy,
against
dude.
Bobrovsky. He took down the
He was
Russians
he was Captain
single-handedly.
America there for he had his 15 minutes of fame there because obviously I don't think they won. Would they get silver that year? Canada?
Yeah, I believe so.
Probably. But I always liked Oshie. That was definitely the peak of his career. I mean, he helped Washington win that cup in 18. He was a big part of
I
that
think
team.
that was more of the peak of his career.
Yeah,
The
but I
Pittsburgh
don't know
fan
that I'm saying
downplaying the
like
Washington Cup.
individual moment. You got to point to that.
Yeah, I mean, but I just
And in the
remember.
USA,
Do you remember the TJ Oshie moment with his dad and everything they were battling? He ended
yeah,
up passing away in that moment after they won the Stanley Cup. That was pretty touching. And he was a longtime superstar with those St. Louis Blues too. All-star, great guy around the league, repping that 77 over in Washington. So definitely gonna sad to see
yeah,
him
he's a
go.
dog.
And
I like him.
yeah, but that Capitals team is in a great spot. Without him, definitely the lore of him will live on for a long time in Washington history and American hockey history. But yeah, it's a tough one to see go, but there's some new faces that are waiting to take over.
Heck yeah, losing a big name here in the NHL, but I'm sure we'll hear more here coming through this offseason. Next up here, let's jump into game 4 here. The Florida Panthers lead the Stanley Cup Final 2-1 after a dominating performance in game 3 where they won 6-1. Game 4 in Florida on Thursday, June 12th. Let's take a look at the odds for game 4 here. The Panthers are favored minus 150 on the money line. Oilers plus 125, and the total sitting at 6.5 here. Uh, Panthers, excuse me, are favorited to win the series here at minus 250 to win the cup. Oilers at plus 200. What are you guys thinking about this game 4 here? Florida up 2-1, like I said. Any thoughts?
Is
Yeah,
this a must win for the Oilers?
it is a must win
Close to
because
it.
I originally said Panthers in 6. I think it's shaping up exactly to be in 6. Florida goes up 3-1. Edmonton wins game 5. Cup at home in Fort Lauderdale in game 6.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a team that's used to the adversity, though. Last year, they went down 3-0, and they forced a game 7 and lost by a goal in the third period. They got to the brink. They had the best player in the world in Connor McDavid with that highlight reel toe drag assist he had. And I remember that interview, they were asking him, how do you do that? Him and Draisaitl sitting there dumbfounded. Then Draisaitl goes, you can't teach a kid how to do that. It's just God-given talent. And McDavid should just come out and said, it's because I'm generational. But he's yet to pop the cherry in the Stanley Cup Finals this year. I think he's going to. He's due. Draisaitl's been on fire. Stu Skinner, though, that's the one thing that kind of scares me, and how deep this Panthers team is
He's
from
doing
top to
exactly
bottom.
what we said. We were talking about this going into this finals. Mackie, we were both like, "Oh, it's possible he could do that."
Oh yeah, it's sometimes. Excuse my French, but to quote Borat, sometimes good, sometimes shit, and he definitely lives up to that.
Yep.
Stuart Skinner, it's getting death threats from the Edmonton fan base. Tough to see. You hate to see that all the time, but
Is what's his name back? What was the other goalie for
Alvin Pickard,
Edmonton?
yeah, he came back in the Western Conference Finals in about game 4 or 5, and he was active.
You think they make a move?
I don't think so. I think he gives Stu the start because he showed he could
Yeah.
give up a boatload, the next game and throw up a donut. I mean, he
Yeah.
did that in the Western Conference Finals, but I
Yeah.
think there's a short leash. The leash is very, very short. That game slipped away from him, but we got to give our kudos to this Florida Panthers team, man. I mean, from the top down, this organization is just great at everything they do. The GM puts together a perfectly balanced roster with guys that win hard-nosed hockey, winning 10 of their last 11 series in Stanley Cup playoff hockey. They have one of the best coaches, and fun fact, a guy that didn't even play hockey himself in Paul Maurice, but he just knows how to get the guys going. They make great additions and subtractions. They have the two-time Vezina goaltender with the Stanley Cup under his belt, and they're just accustomed to being in this moment 3 years in a row now, and it's showing. And a guy like Brad Marchand coming off of hip surgery, getting him for the low from the Boston Bruins, just stepping into that role as the 5th or 6th best forward on the third line and completely taking over. Him and Sam Bennett looking like the best players on the team. Maybe it's because they don't get the matchup that Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, and Alexander Barkov do, but they're seizing the moment. That second power play unit's being put out there, and now these guys are loading up for big contracts in their older years coming into this offseason. But what do you think about this Florida Panthers team and what they've been able to do so far?
You brought it up. I think Bennett and your boy Marchand have been kind of the X factors so far. Bennett's on fire these playoffs. He's getting, like you said, he's gonna get fucking paid this offseason.
Overpaid for sure.
I don't know if he's gonna be able to stay in Florida. I really hope he would take a deal because that team, he fits that play style so well. I don't think he's going to. You got to get your money, but I think he's been the X factor, and Marchand on top of everything is right there with him. There's some of these big the moments that he's scoring these goals in, I think have been big, and those two would definitely jump off the page.
Yeah, and he's been in these big moments throughout his career, whether it be for Team Canada, for the Boston Bruins. He's been there, he's lost, he's won, and the best thing is there's no pressure on his back, no weight on his shoulders. He's just going out there playing, having a good time, and getting the optimal matchup with skilled players. Before, yeah, he was playing with David Pastrnak, but there was nobody else there. They were keying in on him. Now you look at this team, you have Matthew Tkachuk, you have Alexander Barkov, and Sam Reinhart. Those three names jump right off the page at you. But you still have guys like Marchand and Bennett. Oh, what about Carter Verhaeghe? He found the back of the net. Anton Lundell, a team like Pittsburgh and Boston would kill to have a guy like that in your lineup. E2 Luis Duran and Jesper Boquist. Oh, and then let's not forget that back end, Gustav Forsling stepping into the mold. Aaron Ekblad picked highly.
I think Barkov's so good, but I think
The
too.
Selkie man himself,
Teams
Alexander
teams
Barkov.
that win cups, they get goals from their third and fourth lines, and it's just unfair that the Panthers have Bennett and Marchand on their third line.
Third
Anton
line.
Lundell too. I'm telling you, that guy's been stepping up big time. Carter Verhaeghe as well. It's just crazy to me that second unit is getting the looks. Guys like Nate Schmidt on their defensive core depth, stepping up to that second core unit and providing offense. A good player for the Washington Capitals. And let's not forget they brought in Seth Jones as well. That's your third defenseman. I mean, when you have him at the 3 spot, he's really stepping up. I know we kind of gave him some flack, but that's him as the number 1 defenseman. Now he's behind Forsling and Ekblad. And me personally, not a big Sergei Bobrovsky guy, but we got to throw him his flowers. He has the Stanley Cup. He has the 2 Vezinas. He's a desperation guy. He plays the game a little bit unorthodox, way out of the crease, but he steps up into the moment. And you know what? This team can answer the bell at any moment. They bring the physicality to them. We see the Oilers kind of stepping up, trying to initiate, but this is the wrong team to do that against. I know you have to try and get under their skin, but they can answer the bell. What is it going to take for the Oilers to get back into the series, though? I know
McDavid.
McDavid and Draisaitl show. We see that all the time.
That
Who else is
I
going
truly think that's the answer because when they get going, it's unstoppable.
I agree, and they've been the connection's been there. Like I said, McDavid yet to pot a Gino here, but Draisaitl's really been stepping up. Nugent Hopkins has looked pretty good. Evander Kane's presence is felt. You see him in the blue paint all the time. Corey Perry, the old man, still cracking the score sheet night in and night out, chasing that cup that's so elusive to him. Guys there every year. Most playoff games have anybody. I see that stat all the time. More
Yep.
teams that Corey Perry won, but guys on the back end, Evan Bouchard, he's stepping up, playing some great hockey. We expect that. What about Jake Wallman, the trade deadline acquisition?
Arvidsson,
Uh, Wallman, did you see that the antics he pulled
yeah,
last
he
game?
scored the bench.
Yeah, he caught 2 $5,000 fines in one
Yep.
game. I don't remember the last time someone got fined for 2 separate incidents in one game for the hit he threw and then for the water incident. I just think that was comical that we're going to see that for years to come.
I bet if he didn't do the water, they wouldn't have got him with a hit or something.
Yeah, probably not, but you're drawing attention to yourself.
Yeah.
But even guys like I believe they have Henrique in the depth chart, Arvidsson, like you
Yep.
said, a great ad in my opinion. Trent Frederick, like the depth on this team is a lot different, Connor Brown, than what it was. Yeah, they're missing a guy like Zach Hyman. I think that's a big piece to this series. Another guy who knows how to put the
Yep.
puck in the net. You can't teach goal scoring; it's just a natural ability. Um, I
And
expect them.
neither of us said it. They need goaltending.
Yeah,
If it's gonna be if Florida's gonna run like that, you need someone to stop the puck.
yeah, you can't be giving up 4+ goals and expect to win a Stanley Cup playoff game on the road.
The McDavid
against
and
a Cardinals
Draisaitl
team.
show isn't 6 goals. They're not both gonna get hat tricks.
No, I mean, and yeah,
They're gonna
one of
get
them
3
might.
points. They're gonna get you 3 goals. You need to be able to win with that in the playoffs. 3, 4
Yeah.
goals.
And we got to see that scoring step up around them. We saw earlier in the series in that game 1 overtime when game 2 was even pretty close as well, also going to overtime. Remember last week when we were talking, Huff, we were like, last year there were no games that went to overtime. First 2 went right away
Yeah,
to it.
bang bang double in the second one.
Yeah, and then we get that blowout there in game 3, which I think is an outlier. But if you look back on recent Stanley Cups, there's always a blowout mixed in there.
Yeah.
Would I be surprised to see one go the other way? Maybe it's game 5 in Edmonton. Maybe. That Rogers Center was definitely rocking. But if there's a way that the Edmonton Oilers can dig deep, find a way to put the Panthers out at home, reclaim home ice advantage, I wouldn't count this team out in 7 yet. That Rogers Center really was buzzing, and the game looked completely different when they were playing that arena. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of the anthem, the Canadian national anthem being
Yeah.
sung in the Rogers Center, in the whole stadium outside. You can hear it
Yeah.
throughout the streets
Yeah.
just vibrating through. So it's going to take a lot to come down to it, but the Oilers have the skill. They have the hunger, I think. But Matthew Tkachuk had a great quote. He said, "We're comfortable playing this moment. It's like
Yeah.
just another day for us. We're right
I
here."
just it's back to what I said. I think it's so hard to beat Florida 4 out of 7 games. I
Mhm.
think that's why they're going to be the ones to do it. I think it's still done in 6. I'll give Edmonton one more game, but I do think it's 3-1 Florida after tomorrow night.
And we picked our X factors coming in the series. I think it might have been you that called out Brad Marchand as the X factor. He's definitely lived up to the moment. If they had to give someone the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals right now, that Conn Smythe, I think it would be
It would
going to
be him
Brad
or
Marchand.
Bennett. How many
Yeah.
goals does Marchand have?
In the finals, Marchand's outscoring him heavily.
Is
Throughout the
the
playoffs,
Conn Smythe playoffs or finals?
it's playoffs. That's why Connor McDavid took home the award last year. But if you have an overly impactful Stanley Cup
Yeah.
Finals, I think you're going to
McDavid was the rare example they're gonna give it to the other team. If
just
Florida wins it, it's
because
Yeah.
gonna be someone on Florida this year. They're not
Doesn't
gonna
happen
do
enough.
that to them twice.
yeah, because he willed him there, and his run hasn't been as generational as it was last year. They've gotten support from the rest of the cast. I still think the X factor, yeah, I would not like him as my goaltender.
Jesse,
So
try to find the odds for Marchand to win the Conn Smythe.
it's definitely way lower now. If you could
Yeah, I
find,
know.
if you
I
could find
missed
the
the value on it, but
pre-cup odds too, that would be pretty interesting.
Sam Bennett's leading the board at plus 125. Connor McDavid at plus 240. Brad Marchand at plus 500.
Oh,
I would
think
still take
decent
that.
value, especially if he scores another big goal, the
Yeah,
two-goal
dude, if he
performance
scores
in
again
game
in
2.
overtime or something,
Yeah. On the power play, shorthanded, like, he's doing it all facets of the game, but
yep.
I still think the X factor, and even though I'm not a fan for the Edmonton Oilers, is Stuart Skinnerhoff. We've been saying it throughout the playoffs, like, yeah, he can be the guy that kills your season, and they need the goaltending, but this year he's shown he can
He
throw
just
on a
snapped in the
0.
Western Conference Finals, so everyone just expected that to happen. It's like, no, you were gonna get one of those games.
Yeah, but imagine he comes back this game and throws up a 0. How crazy would hockey world be
It's
right
hard to
now?
do that against Florida. I'd love to know the last time Florida got shut out in a playoff game if it happened this season.
Yeah, if they did, it hasn't happened often. I can't recall this series. Let's think. I
This
don't think
team just, dude.
maybe it's Oilers?
I was saying this the other day when I was watching. I think it was Game 3. Marchand is in the right place at the right time for every rebound. He has such good I don't like reactive, whatever you call it, right off the pad. Any low shot from the point, he gets his stick on everything in front of the net. That's why he scores all these big goals.
Yeah, I agree.
I've
And,
always liked I've always liked him. You act like I don't like him. I
yeah,
do like him. He's just on the Bruins. I couldn't like him. Now he's on Florida, so I can root for him.
yeah, agreed. And it's tough for me to watch. I don't want this Panthers team to win. They took my leader. All these Bruins fans that are bandwagoning on the Florida Panthers. I'm like, how can you do this? We have our generation's Wayne Gretzky waiting to hoist the cup. I know it's Canada and we want to see the American teams win the cup, but I just can't keep watching the Panthers' dominance. But that's what it truly is. And it's going to be tough to turn the tide. And like I said before, I don't know how you put this team out in a series, but I'm going to back my guy 97 and think he gets the job done. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to pot at least one tomorrow, maybe two. We're going to look at those odds and potentially throw some coin on it. If we do, I bet you it might hit, but it's going to be a great
I
one
do
game.
love watching these two teams play each other.
What a
It-
battle. We had a full melee in the last game. So
Yep.
you know the tempers are high. You know that the heart is up there. I'm excited for it.
Panthers in 6. You're going Oilers in 7 still?
Yeah, I'm still going to back it. And this game 4 is pivotal.
Yeah.
Definitely a pivotal game 4 here coming up tomorrow night, Thursday, for the Panthers and the Oilers. Let's jump over to the NBA here. The NBA Finals are tied at 1 game apiece as we're heading into Game 3 tonight in Indiana. Pacers took Game 1 off a Tyrese Halliburton game-winning shot. Thunder then responded with this resounding Game 2 victory to even the series. Before we get into these odds, has your finals pick changed at all after you've seen the results and the gameplay from Games 1 and 2?
I'm
No.
nervous
I
about these
said
Indiana Pacers.
this was more of a question for Mackie and Ace, but Mackie's not here this week. I originally said you guys switched me to Thunder in 6, so I'm glad because they get Game 1. They can still win one more. I think it might be tonight. I think they get one in Indiana. I have the Pacers. I think what's the spread tonight, Jesse?
The spread's 5.5.
5.5. I took 6. I bought it to 6. I like the Pacers tonight to at least cover. By the time you're listening to this game will be over. If they win Game 3, you can thank me. If not, I don't want to hear about it. But I think it's gonna be a close game tonight. I think the Pacers still get one more. I'm gonna stick with the Thunder in 6, though. I think they're just too good.
Yeah, I think I said it before, this Pacers team is a team of destiny. And are they anywhere up to stuff
I'd
on
love the
paper?
Pacers to win it. I'm gonna say it again. Every time
Me
I say the
too.
Thunder are
I
gonna win it,
want
I have
them
to
to.
back it with saying I'm rooting for the Pacers.
Yeah, I just don't see a world in which they do. Do you?
No,
But nobody saw a world in which they even won game 1, and
dude,
of
the
course, the ball
Thunder.
ends up in Tyrese Halliburton's hand. He's clapping, he goes down court, and what does he do? He nails a deep two-point jumper from just
Dude, he's a
inside
dog.
the arc. I mean, that's vintage right there. That's a great shot that'll go down in the history books. He's the first player, I believe, to hit a buzzer or a game-winning shot in every series throughout the run, so that's great to see. Nemhart stepping up with the big threes to support him in the big moments. Spicy P playing some good basketball, Obi Toppin, Miles Turner. So they have the guys that are stepping up to the moment, but this super team that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and let me restate this that I've said before, that is just starting their dynasty. This is a very young team with a bunch of assets. They're gonna be here again a few more times over the course of the next few years. So I still think they get the job done. They're too deep. We saw what they did in game 2. They handled business and they took it to them early and often. I know that it was a little bit of a blowout in game 1 at halftime too, and we're like, maybe the Pacers can stick around. They're this
Maybe.
team that loves coming back from these crazy deficits, and you can buy in at crazy odds. But going home, it's a massive game 3. This game will be telling. If the Thunder keep their foot on the gas and throttle them here, it's going to be over in 5. If the Pacers can somehow sneak this one out, it's going 7, and I think the Pacers in
7.
the clutch. If it goes 7, if the Pacers win game 3, I have the Pacers in 7.
Wow.
If
So
the
let me
Thunder win game 3, I have the Thunder in 5.
You're ignoring Game 6. You're saying it's either Thunder in 5 or Pacers in 7.
Correct. I think that's exactly how the tale unfolds. I think they split on both courts. If the Pacers can win at home in game 3, Thunder will
Okay.
come back strong in game 4. Game 5 will be a crapshoot. Game
You think
6,
there's
whoever
any
loses.
chance they can win both at home if they win tonight?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think the Thunder rebound very well from a loss, but I think when we get to game 7, it's going to be that clutch factor, and who is the most clutch player in the league right now?
Halliburton, for
It's
sure.
Halliburton. What the hell? Every time there's a big moment, he steps up to the plate and he gets the job done. I mean, this guy is generational. He's probably being a little bit overrated now. Remember when people saying he's the
Yeah.
most overrated
Yeah.
player in the league? I've seen these rankings that have him like
I
top
dude, I
5
was
player
just
in the
gonna
league.
bring that. I was waiting for you to finish. I was gonna bring up how people have him at like 5,
Yeah,
6.
I'm like, I don't know about that, but I do like the way he's playing. I mean, the clutch gene, you can't teach that, and that's an insane way to have it. In the shots he's hitting, the composure he shows, and you know what else though? You got to give some credit to the type of gameplay that he brings to the floor. How often do we see a traditional point guard who can move the
Yeah.
ball, who can rebound, play some defense, just an all-around player? Doesn't turn the ball over very much, doesn't try to do too much, lets his teammates step up around him. Someone that builds the team up rather than demand the rock the whole time.
Yep.
Um, but
He's
it's
fun
just
to watch.
it's different than the rest of the NBA today. But we have the MVP staring at him from the other side. You have the Jalen's with him. You have Caruso off the bench, Chet Holmgren, who was a lottery ticket pick. You have Dort, who's one of the top defensive players in the league. They have a good coach over there and a good rotation. Hartenstein was a great piece that they added. I still think they have too much in the tank. I'll stick with Thunder in 5 because I think they get the job done tonight. But if the Pacers win, give me the Pacers in 7. Huh? Give me them in 7.
Here, let me run through these odds real quick for the series. So the Thunder are favored to win the series -650, Pacers at +475, but the series ending in exactly how many games? 5 games at +150, 6 games at +190, and 7 games at +225.
I'm on 6.
Yeah. What's it in 5 again? Thunder in 5?
Five games in
All right.
general is +150. Thunder's -650.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't love any of those to throw on, but I just think those are 2 separate scenarios. Either the Thunder win out because they're that much better, or the Pacers push them to the
You
brink.
don't think
And
there's a chance where the Pacers just get one more?
only one? No,
They
I
get
don't.
one more at home. Thunder get one, one in Indy, and then
You put some belief into this team and you guarantee another home game, they're pushing it to the brink.
yeah,
This is a generational run that we're witnessing of one of the biggest underdogs we've seen in a while. I mean, the last underdog we saw get there was the Miami Heat, and they kind of had a start like this, if you remember. I
yeah.
think this is the Heat team that lost to the Lakers, maybe?
Nuggets.
To the Nuggets, okay. Remember that generational run they went on? Maybe they won a game in the finals, but they got trounced. I could see that happening
I
here
think it was a
again.
sweep before one. Yeah.
I think this team's a little bit deeper, a little bit more experienced. They just got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they have a little bit more superpower than that Heat team did. Superstars like Siakam and Halliburton. So I'm gonna go with the Pacers here. I'm gonna take I lean towards that 7. I really hope so. But like I said, I could also see the Thunder throttling them.
Yeah.
It could go one of two ways.
I'm sticking to Thunder in 6. I'd love to see the Pacers win. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
it every time again.
Yeah, it'd be fun, but it's just so hard to envision.
Alrighty, boys, let's keep it moving here. Lots of good stuff out of the NBA. Let's jump into. Oh, I lost it. Let's jump into our power rankings here for the MLB. Starting at number 5, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 4, the New York Yankees. Number 3, the Chicago Cubs. Number 2, the Detroit Tigers. And number 1, the New York Mets. What are your guys' thoughts on our power rankings here coming into this week?
Mackey's Mets 8-2 in their last 10.
You know, they're getting back too. They're getting Manaea and Montes back on the tit
Yep.
too, so that's nice to see. Pushing Megill out of the rotation potentially, or Peterson. They got Blackburn going to the pen. They're hitting baseballs very well. Look at Lindor, Soto, Alonso's been
I mean,
on a
we
nice little tear here. That team's just loaded, but we expect them to be strong. The Braves are starting to turn it up a little bit. I know they're not in our rankings. The Phillies are a team that's in a little bit of turmoil, still winning some games, but no Bryce Harper. The extent of his injury is unknown, but that NL East is a powerhouse. And then look at the Nationals; they're kind of hanging around. That's one thing I was talking about today, Hoff. That Nationals trade that saw Soto leave after that World Series. I mean, the
mhm.
return on that's
That got
insane.
them Mackenzie Gore, right?
They got Mackenzie Gore, James Wood, C.J. Abrams, and then
Oh,
two.
damn.
Jarlin Suzan is a top 50 prospect in the
Yep.
MLB. Is a top 10 right-handed pitching prospect.
I
They
didn't know they
got
got
Robert.
all 3 of them. Forget even the prospects. The Abrams, Wood, and Mackenzie Gore, that's worth it.
Yeah, Robert Hassel just made his debut within the last month for the Nationals too. I mean, that's a great deal. It makes me mad that we didn't get anything from Mookie Betts, put it that way. But great deal by that organization to put themselves back in the relevancy. Teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, we know how good they are. Judge has been completely demolishing the baseball lately. I know that we beat them on Sunday Night Baseball, but he put 2 out that night, put 1 out again last night. Um, I still don't trust their pitching too much. Max Fried, shout out to him. Carlos Rodon, the 2 free
The
agents brought in and spent on are studs,
Yeah.
but the rest of that staff scares me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the team that just missed the list for me, at least, that I've been having fun watching, that I always do like, is the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants are a great team. I mean, I don't think they can personally hang with the National League's best. I think that's a tougher side this year, um, tougher league. But they've been putting together a good run here. Their pitching staff kind of young. Logan Webb obviously leads the way, but the rest of the guys kind of young over there. Jung Ho Lee got a little hype going on over there.
Yeah,
Willie
I like
Adames,
him.
Flores, they brought those guys in, so they're nice to see. But those Diamondbacks are an interesting team over there. Obviously, the Padres and Dodgers are great. And I don't know if you saw this, but Otani's going to be pitching next month for the
Yep.
Los Angeles Dodgers. So that's exciting. He's tied with Aaron Judge at 23 home runs as well. What about those Seattle Mariners? That team obviously has dealt with a lot of injuries. Logan
Raleigh
Gilbert,
had another
Bryce Miller.
two-run day since the last time we talked
The
about that.
big dumper is the leading home run hitter in the MLB. That guy's on fire for a catcher career year. We talked about it last week. It's just great to see.
So
Um,
cool.
yeah. Like, how often do
Um,
you see that? A
Yeah,
and
full-time
then
catcher leading the league in home runs.
it's
the
awesome.
the other one I was gonna say is the Phillies. They've been kind of reeling. They just came to Pittsburgh and got
Injured.
swept by the Buccos.
Yeah, injured,
Um,
poorly managed.
yeah,
Luzardo bounced back nicely. He got shelled in his last 2. He's looking like a Cy Young candidate. Today, he came in through a gem, 6 innings, 1 earned, 10 Ks in their electrifying win. Um, but there's a lot of other teams that are playing good baseball too. I mean, the
yeah.
Cubs are a good team. That's who the Phillies just took
Yeah,
down.
no one talks about the Cubs. I also think the Brewers are pretty good.
The Brewers have
Um,
been playing some good baseball.
yeah,
Um, either the Astros stepping up into the mix. The Detroit Tigers, I think we've talked
and
about
no
them
one
a lot this year, but that team's stacked and really young.
I was gonna say, and no one, and I don't think anyone expected the Cardinals to be sitting here, halfway through June at 36 and 32.
They just do that. They just hang around.
Yeah,
Contreras and Herrera hitting the baseball pretty well. Nolan Arenado having a little bit of a
and
resurgence.
they have a
It's nice
nice
to
little
see.
team down there.
Yeah, they always that's just a good baseball organization. They'll
Yeah,
stay competitive no matter what. The Reds have been kind of a flop for me. I know they're not completely out of it. Red Sox, Reds, 2 teams that look to have brighter seasons that aren't really doing it. Orioles obviously crazy. Did you see the news that they might move on from Adley Rutschman? They have one of the top
Yeah.
prospects in
Yep.
baseball with Samuel Basallo in AAA just lighting it up, and that opens the door still so high on that value that, that Rutschman created, but I don't think I'd move on from him personally. I'd rather have both, but we'll see. A lot of other good stuff going on throughout the league, though. A lot of guys coming off injury. Yuri Perez made his season debut after a year and a half long Tommy John surgery, one of the electrifying young prospects, pitchers for the Marlins, 22-year-old, in a defeat to your Pittsburgh Pirates. But his stuff looked good. He was throwing over 100 miles an hour as a starter, so that's fun to see. And what about my Red Sox? They called up Roman Anthony, the number 1 prospect in baseball, picked up his first hit, his first RBI. The Red Sox winning games with him. We have the big 3 up now. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell. Oh, and thank you, New York Yankees, for Carlos Narvaez, too. A lot of rookies just on the scene for the Red Sox. Yeah, we'd like to see a lot more, but it's great to see those young guys in the mix. Kyle Teal, big prospect for the White Sox, just got called up as well. That's who we sent over for Garrett Crochet. So a lot of good young guys jumping onto the scene, and the MLB's going well. Your boy Bubba Chandler, I hope he's not dealing with an injury. His
You think
minor
they
league
bring him up
start,
soon?
I don't know. His minor league start today, he was pulled in the first or second inning after 30 pitches. I don't know if it was
Oh, I didn't see
performance-based or
that.
injury-based, so hopefully it's based off of just a tough start, then he's good to go, but we'll have to monitor that one for sure.
Yeah.
What about Mackenzie Gore? That was my pick to lead the league in strikeouts, push for the Cy Young. Him and Paul Skeens, 2 guys that look to lead the way in the NL for Cy Young voting with negative records, which is crazy, but they've both been on fire, and they just
What
can't seem
is
to get
Skeens now? He just got another loss.
Not too sure of his record. I know that Mackenzie Gore's sitting at 3-5 or 4-5 maybe.
Okay.
I feel like
He
Skeens is
does
like
like 3
3 and
wins.
6. Yeah, but it's some good stuff to watch. I'm excited for the
4 and
rest.
6.
Yeah, 4 and
4 and
6.
6 Skeens is?
What
Yeah.
about Schwellenbach in the NL too? I mean, he just went the distance today. A nice gem
Yeah.
over there. So
I like the Braves.
yeah, there's a lot going on. It's a good league. Acuna, your boy, is right back in the mix. And another tank today. That guy's great. Um, but yeah, PCA can't leave baseball segment out with his name being
Yeah.
not being mentioned. That guy's really good
Like
too.
I said, dude, no one mentions the Cubs whenever they talk about baseball.
Yeah, Kyle Tucker, PCA, Dansby Swanson. I mean, there's a lot.
They
Ian
have another
Happ,
fun team. They're
Shota
supposed to get
Imanaga.
Imanaga back in a week or 2, I
Yeah.
think I saw.
Yep.
He's doing his throwing assignment or whatever they call
That's a
it.
team that I think is going to buy at the deadline is the Chicago Cubs. Sandy Alcantara, one of the big pitching prospects in the market, bounced back with 2 straight wins, so maybe his trade stock's rising a little bit. Like I said, Rutschman.
Who's the
That's one
Cubs
thing.
catcher? What if they went and got Rutschman?
Ooh, do they have a Contreras up there? I don't know. They have Matt Shaw, a top prospect up in the infield. They have Michael Bush up there. They have Chad Kelly, I believe. Might be
They
he
would
caught.
take Rutschman.
Yeah, I think they definitely would, but you got to give up a good haul to get him. So I don't know. I don't see him being moved. I think that's all fake news, but we'll have to see.
I saw that same post you saw.
Heck yeah, boys. Lots of good stuff there out of the MLB. We're in full swing here, Ace, like you said, voting for the All-Star game, right? Started this week or is starting this week, right? So
Full
lots to look forward.
Rockies.
Where's
in
the
NL,
All-Star game this year?
full White Sox in the AL.
Atlanta? All-Star games in Atlanta?
What's the name of that field down there? You know?
I believe it's Atlanta.
Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that'll be good. Good times there. So we'll see. Maybe Marcell Ozuna in the home run derby, although he's kind of tweaked his back with some or a knee or something like that. So maybe he'll sit out of it. But that'd be a good hometown guy to get in.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ronnie Acuna will get in there and Schwellenbach. Yeah, hopefully we get some Red Sox in there. Raffy Delbert will be there. Paul Skeens will be there. Be a good time.
Yeah.
We'll get to some
I want
voting here.
I want Cruz to do the home run derby, but he won't get invited.
Yeah.
I just want to see him do it.
No, I'd like to see Cal Raleigh do it this year. Imagine they
Yeah,
got
for
Judge.
sure.
Imagine
He's
they
not.
went with,
I
like,
don't.
the
Do you think
top.
he does it?
No, imagine they went with like the top 8 home run hitters. And we're just like, you have to go into it.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's what I
amazing.
mean. That's why I think Cruz has like a chance because like he has the 4 hardest hit balls in the past 5 years. Like
You
he
know
has
who's
a good
going to be
amount
in
of
it
home
though?
runs. I feel like he's young. I feel like that's what they want in the home run derbies, like the young. You know what I mean?
You know who's going to be in it though, and he's probably going to press to win it again. Pete
Who?
Alonso, guys in it
Yeah,
every year.
he
Pull it
lives
deep.
for it, dude.
Big home run guy though. He's having a great year himself, so he definitely
Yeah.
deserves it. But we'll have to see.
Soderstrom.
I'm excited
probably
to
do
see
it.
when we get to that moment. I love the home run derby. One of my favorite baseball.
That's one of my
sports.
favorite events of the year. I love the
Yeah.
home run derby.
So we'll get a bracket filled out here in a couple weeks. I still think it's a little early to jump on it, but before July approaches,
Yeah.
we'll get one out to you guys.
Heck yeah. Let's jump into some NFL here. Some NFL news here. It's starting out with the Pittsburgh Steelers have officially signed quarterback Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal. The deal was announced this past Thursday with Rodgers reporting to OTAs on Monday. Is Rodgers the piece that the stagnant offense was missing last season? And how far can this Rodgers-led Steelers team go? As we said here leading into the show, Huff and I are on polar opposites of this. I don't
I'm
care for
not
Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not, like, all in on Rodgers.
It's not okay, it's not that. I just think he's gonna be a locker room problem.
See, like, I don't even think
When
about
hasn't
that.
he been?
I don't think he's gonna respect any of the
No,
the old guys,
I understand. Yeah, I know
you
what
know, that's all.
Regardless, though, this is the tough truth that I think is from an outside perspective. Regardless of who you brought in, I don't think
like,
they're
when
going to have too much.
I need to
Oh,
ask
I mean,
you
I
this
agree.
before you go in on him. When you look at this, is this like whenever he went to the Jets? Same thing?
Yeah.
It's gonna be worse.
You think worse?
Yeah, because he doesn't have his offensive coordinator. You have a brand new offensive coordinator who doesn't have a very strong track record of being a good offensive coordinator. He has less weapons. He doesn't have Brees Hall. The O-line is arguably the same, a little bit worse. The weapons are
Well,
definitely a
the
lot
running
worse on the
I knew this
outside.
was happening ever since they said when we drafted Caleb Johnson, they said he worked out with Aaron Rodgers this offseason.
So you figured that was gonna get going.
That was like,
The stars
once we
aligned
drafted
the whole
Caleb
time.
Johnson, I was like, this is one of Rodgers' guys
missed
coming
out.
in.
You missed out on all your big fish. You couldn't get Matt Stafford. You couldn't re-sign Justin Fields. You didn't bring back Russ.
Here's how I look at it. If you would have told me last season, would you rather, like at the end of last season, after seeing Rodgers play some decent to pretty good football at the end of last year, I know the Jets weren't winning games, but if you would have told me last year, Justin Fields and George Pickens or Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, I definitely would take Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf.
I disagree. I disagree personally. I think Aaron Rodgers is on a downward trajectory. Justin Fields brings a whole new aspect to the game. I know you might not be the biggest fan, but for a team that's stuck in the mud and on offense, he can bring that second level of offense. He can do things on his own with his feet. We saw that was his successful part of the game when he would step in last year. Regardless, I don't think any of those options were the successful option. I think your option is going to come in the draft next year. Personally, I would have liked
I'd
to
like to see Will Howard still get a chance. I want to
I
make
think
that
you're
known.
still going to. I was going to say, I would like to see Will Howard get a chance. That's what I personally would have done, and I would have been okay with being a bad team. I know Mike Tomlin throws
Can't
up
do
at the
that.
thought of
Can't
that.
do it. We got to get 9 wins.
But if you were smart and reset your organization, look at the situation that my team is in right now. That could be you guys a year from now. And it's now you're in a weird
More like
spot.
2 year. Yeah, I guess a year or two.
Now you're in a weird spot though, where you might not be picking highly once again when you're desperately in need of early picks in every round. You have a bunch of cap space to spend. I think it's polarizing for Aaron Rodgers too. You have the news about TJ Watt and everything. It's just a weak roster all around though. That's the thing. And I don't know what they need to do. Maybe the head coach needs to be out. I know that's really tough to do. That was like with us with Bill Belichick. Like you at one point you bite the bullet and you're like, damn, this sucks. We lost our guy, but at least we're going on to something new. I think that's got to come at some
I
point.
can't believe you think it's gonna be worse than the Jets. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Think about it. Here,
I guarantee you they'll get 9
Devontae
wins.
Adams and Garrett Wilson.
I can almost
Do you have any
guarantee
of those?
you with my eyes closed and money on it that they'll get 9 wins.
Oh, I don't. I would take that bet. I'm going to take their under. Their win total is definitely sitting at 7.5.
It's
though.
8.5. Like it is every year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I think they're a worse team than they are last year. Do you think they're a better football team on paper than they were last year?
I think Metcalf is so fucking good. So
well,
if you ask me straight up Metcalf or Pickens, like, come on.
Regardless, you're in the same exact situation. You have a big wide receiver one with no help.
I think you have a bigger wide receiver one though.
Doesn't matter. The defense is going to isolate him throughout his
I know.
career. DK Metcalf had help.
I don't think they're done yet. I'm
JSN
interested.
and Tyler
I want to
Lockett.
get into this next thing with McLaurin because I'm not saying they're going to get him, but they're targeting like Pitts. They've talked about Jonnu Smith. There's a lot of guys. I mean, I don't think they're done yet.
McLaurin and Pitts, though, I personally don't think they're leaving. I think it's a lot of chatter to try and get these extensions done on their end. I'd like to see them leave. Maybe not McLaurin. I kind of like seeing him play with Jaden Daniels personally, but I think we could be in on him as well if he does hit the open market or they are answering phone calls. So yeah, Pitts on the other hand, I think they're still waiting to unlock him. What's crazy is it feels like he's been in the league for what now, 5-6 years, but he's only 24 years old or something like that, 25 years old. So
Yeah.
his best yet to come. Jonnu Smith, personally, for the state of your current team,
It's
I
they
wouldn't
only
be
want
in on him.
Johnny Smith because Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in on him because what's that going to do for you? Is that a needle mover? No. And are you right there in the mix where your tight end's going to be a big difference? No. I like the guys you got in place, but I saw that trade, the theoretical trade where it's Darnell Washington goes to Vegas.
Yeah, I'd rather keep watching it.
Yeah, I would too. But you see him go to Vegas, you see Michael Meyer go to the Falcons, and Kyle Pitts go to you guys. But there's a lot of different things. I still just don't think the situation around Aaron Rodgers is good enough for him to have too much success. And like Jesse said, he brings turmoil and questioning everywhere he goes. And I don't know, defense a little bit worse than it has been in my opinion. I don't know. I just it's a tough spot. You got to expect a bounce back year from the Bengals too, right? I mean, they
I just can guarantee this team will get 9 wins. I'm not saying that like cocky. I'm saying like
what's their strength of schedule?
They're going to
they
slide
found a way to
by.
get 9 wins with worse teams. They're gonna
Yeah.
do it again.
Yeah, when you get to play the Browns twice a year, that definitely helps. But
And the Bengals at home. Usually we get one from the Bengals at home and the
I
Ravens. We
know,
beat
but
the Ravens once a year.
you
We
gotta
usually
imagine.
go 4-2 in the division. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta hope for it. I just don't. I don't know. This is potentially set up for the worst Steelers year that I'm not counting
And
the
that's what everyone
Dodgers year.
wanted. Everyone
Yeah.
wanted, let's go in with Mason, let's get 4 wins, let's draft a quarterback.
You think Aaron Rodgers moves the needle that much? I mean, the odds books don't. The Super Bowl odds didn't show.
No, yeah, they there's a lot of most guys that are switching teams, unless it's like we haven't had like a huge quarterback switch team since. I mean, I guess you could say like Darnold and those guys this offseason, but like those aren't. Yeah, I'm talking
But
like top
how
5.
about this? All right, what about this point that you probably haven't thought about too much? Is there a reason that teams didn't sign Aaron Rodgers? Guys like Russell Wilson were signed before him, who you just had, and that
I think
situation
the
was a
writing was
lot.
on the. Everyone knew this was going to happen.
No, I know, but it's crazy that none of these other teams that were QB needy jumped to get him. Geno Smith was acquired. Russell Wilson was acquired. We
Well, they
re-signed
said
Matthew
they said
Stafford.
The Giants were in on him. They said they didn't want to wait because he said
Yeah,
he was dealing with that personal stuff.
but that
Which
was the
was his
best
wedding.
situation. Yeah, that's crazy over football.
We all figured that out now.
Yeah, it's the best situation that he could have went into would be the New York Giants with Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson, Scatterbo and Tyrone Tracy, Brian Daboll, the offensive mind. But I think there's a lot of cleaning house that needs to be done in Pittsburgh, and I don't think a QB in his later
Dude, I told you
years.
we're the new team that's going to sign a 38-year-old quarterback until we
Oh.
magically have a bad season.
Hey,
and
I'll
pick
tell you
in the
what, I
top
did it
10.
with Cam Newton, and it was really cool to watch because you're like, I didn't expect this guy to be my quarterback, and you'll win some games that you shouldn't have, but like not the spot you want to be in my opinion. Tell you what, I'm happy I have Drake May as my quarterback.
Yeah, you definitely want to. I mean, you guys suffered to get that pick, and
Yeah.
it worked out.
You're
There's
gonna
a
have
lot
to
of
do it.
time. Like, I also think the Steelers look at it like just because you pick it in the top 5 doesn't mean that guy's going to be a
Stud.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys are continuously picking in like a bad spot. Not only for that first
You
round
gotta be.
pick.
You have to be in the top 10.
Yeah, you know what's tough? It's not always about that quarterback pick, but even your later picks are a lot sooner too. So you're getting better value. Like we just got Travion Henderson in the second round, Kyle Williams, like all these some good linemen out of Georgia in these later rounds, just because our
It
value
was
is
a
so
good
much
draft
higher.
this year. I'm telling you, I think this team's better than you're giving it credit for. I'm not even saying that biasly. I
Yeah.
think they had a good draft.
I'm just not sold after what I saw Aaron Rodgers do at the end of his Green Bay tenure and what he's done for the Jets so far. He blew up a Jets team that on paper was supposed to be so good, and I don't know. He doesn't have much help. The DK Metcalf take too. I mean, I'm telling you, I think he's a great receiver. Huge DK Metcalf fan. Like happy you guys got him. I would have taken him in New England for sure. But the fact that you weren't able to add anything around him, literally anything. There's nothing around.
I don't think they're done.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope they're not. I should
I
say.
don't
I should
think
also
Terry
say
McLaurin
that.
personally is on the move. The connection they have with Jaden Daniels in his rookie year, like you would be crazy, in my opinion, to give up Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. The other one the Steelers have talked about is Gabe Davis. I would take him.
Yeah, I'd take him. He's still kicking around. I know he got cut by the Jaguars. Is he a free agent?
Yeah.
Yeah, we posted that list the other day.
Mike
There's a lot
Cooper's
of
also a free agent.
there's a lot of good free agents out there, but I'd probably go Gabe Davis over Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper's a better receiver, but it's like the same thing. Like you want
The
to keep
injury,
getting these
yeah.
old injured guys. Like let's do that. Let's everybody that's old and injured come play for us. We're gonna make a run. Like I don't know. What if you move TJ Watt? What do you think your win total needle moves down to after that?
It would go to 6.5. I think he gets you a win and a half with the stops the way that defense gets going with him.
Worst case
You're-
scenario, what happens?
I
Aaron
mean, we've all
Rodgers
seen I
experiment-
don't know it off the top of my head. The record with and without him throughout his career is insane.
Yeah, and the Aaron Rodgers experiment could go one of two ways, and if it goes awry and he's hurt or disgruntled or benched early on, and TJ Watt is moved, you guys could be looking at a very nice pick come next year.
Yeah. Which again is a win-win.
Yeah. And
The
maybe get
worst
some
case
Will Howard
scenario
reps
is it's
too.
the same thing again and we pick 15th.
Maybe get some Will Howard reps too. That would be nice. Also, Brent
Even
Rooker just
15th
hit
would be good.
another
We're
home run.
finished
Let's
first,
go
guys.
A's. He's carrying Huff 4 for 4 with 2 homers.
Who?
Brent Rooker hit another home run. They're still losing 6-5. He's 4 for 4
They're
with 2 homers.
still losing and he's 4 for 4.
2 homers. It's crazy. Yeah. Any other news we want to get to in the MLB, Jesse? What else we got on the docket?
In the NFL,
Yes, we are.
well, we are into the mandatory mini camps this week, and here's a list of notable players who have elected to sit out: T.J.
Yep.
Watt, Terry McLaurin, Trey McHenderson, Shamar Stewart, Jalen Ramsey, and Jonnu Smith.
That
James
Shamar
Cook,
Stewart
James
situation with the
Cook,
Bengals is
dude,
ridiculous.
Did you see that with James Cook?
What?
He's holding out too. He wants to get
Oh,
more
geez.
money. And if he doesn't, he's not going to play there. And if you're the Buffalo Bills, can you afford to pay him? I don't think so. And let's not forget, remember Dalvin Cook's downfall. Remember how quickly he fell off after he
Yeah.
wanted money?
Yeah.
And what about the guy they just drafted last year, Ray Davis, I believe his name is. They like him too.
Yep.
I bet you Cook ends up staying there, but he just had a career year, and his brother's downfall makes me think he's trying to cash in before he does. Some of the other names you said, Shamar Stewart, that's the Bengals guy, right?
Yep.
That
First
team is.
round pick that hasn't signed a contract yet and he's holding out of camp.
And then Trey Hendrickson, they're not paying either. So they have nobody on the defensive side of the ball. Cam Taylor-Britt, he makes one-handed catches, good for him, but he gets cooked every other play. Yeah, I mean, guys that are holding out, crazy to see, but it works out for a lot of these people. But get to camp. Let's see it. My guy Stephon Diggs is out there at Patriots camp off his ACL. Looks like he's fully healthy on a boat doing unnamed pink drugs with all these girls. And he's out there balling, talking up the young receivers. So I don't know. Mike Vrabel's got him doing the right thing over there. Cooper Kupp, I saw him over at OTAs rocking a new hairstyle. He looks like he's trying to be young again.
Of
So
course.
that's interesting. Browns OTAs have been fun to follow. I don't know if you guys have been seeing the clips of that. You got Joe
Yeah.
Flacco just kind of telling all these young QBs how stupid they are and how dumb this organization is. But that's an elite quarterback. I know we like to kind of mess with Joe Flacco. He's a rival of yours too. But the fact that he's still this age, like people wrote him off after he left the Ravens, and all he does is ball out. He doesn't even look like he's trying. He just shows up and he's a good quarterback. But yeah, it's just the skill and savvy of a vet right there.
Heck yeah. One more thing here out of the NFL. We're jumping into our positional rankings here starting this week. Head coaches are our first topic as we run through each and every position in the NFL here. Curious who you guys have as your top 5 coaches heading into this year. Who wants to get started?
Yeah, I mean, I think Huff, we can easily agree on the number 1 coach in the NFL right now, right?
Do you want to do it like that, or do you want to do like your list, my list? Because I just made my list. That's what I was doing.
All right, go for it. You can rattle off first,
All
but I
right.
know Andy
I don't know
Reid's
how I
going to be
feel
at
about
the
this
top of
order.
it.
I just did it straight off the top of my head. 5, I have 2 people I couldn't decide who to give the honorable mention to. I have Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, the Charger. I
Okay.
like him. This is more just people I like and that I think are good coaches. Harbaugh and Kevin O'Connell at the 5. I like what he's
Like
done,
Kevin
obviously, in
O'Connell a
Minnesota,
lot.
turning around that team. He's made, the whole list of quarterbacks up there in Minnesota we've seen over the past couple of years. Kyle Shanahan at 4, my boy Coach T at 3, Sean McVay at 2, Andy Reid at 1.
Yeah, Sean McVay at 2 is kind of crazy to me, but look at what he's able to do with a team and turnover.
He has the Super Bowl too.
Yeah, that's a good pick, and he's so young too, so he can only keep evolving.
Yeah.
Part of a good legendary coaching tree, and his coaching tree is evolving in itself. You only have 1 Harbaugh on your list?
Yeah, I didn't do John.
Yeah, I think that's a little Steelers bias there. I think he's got to be in that list. That team's so good every year, and he has, 1, 2 Super Bowls at least.
No
So-
Dan Campbell either for me this year.
Yeah,
I was surprised by that one.
is it the boneheaded decision sometimes?
I mean, I just think he's funny.
Yeah, he's a good guy and a guy you'd want to play for, but is he better than some of these legendary veteran
No,
coaches?
he's not and he's not going to outsmart anybody. He's just like the guy you want to play for, and that
And
gets
he's-
teams going.
Is he more the beneficiary of a great roster?
Could be.
Yeah, that's something to look at too. Tough to think. Where'd you have your boy Tomlin at 3?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave him
Did I have
out of
3?
it.
I already
think
deleted
he's
my
one of
list.
the
I think I went Andy Reid, McVay, Tomlin, Shanahan, and then Harbaugh and O'Connell at the 5.
All right, I'll go with a crazy list here for you. I'll give your guy Tomlin a little shout out and right outside of my top 5 for you. I'll put him at 6. I just don't like what he's been doing since the Super Bowls, but I mean he keeps bad team not to throw some dirt on you guys, but he keeps
Another guy has the
let
ring. You gotta give him
yeah,
the
and he
credit while he's
keeps
still
he
going.
keeps lesser teams. I mean, that record's crazy with the rosters that he's had. The fact that he's able to do that. But coming in, I'll throw a crazy one to you. I'll go with Sean McDermott at the 5 here. I think he's a very good coach, and I know that they can't win the big game. I think it's just a cursed Bills franchise. But the fact that with just Josh Allen, you let all these pieces go, and they're so good, and his scheme is very strong. He's lost coordinators too, like Dayball, and this team just has dominance over the AFC East. He took it over from Bill Belichick, and he's been running with it. I think that's a team that's literally led by their quarterback and their coach. It's McDermott and Allen. So I'm going to put him in the 5 spot. At 4, I'm going to stay with a homer pick of mine. I like Kyle Shanahan. I'm a big fan of him. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell, too. I think he's the Kyle Shanahan light. Another guy that hasn't had playoff success, which is Shanahan, but his scheme and everything he does speaks for itself.
Another guy that was sitting right on the outside for me is LaFleur. I like him.
Yeah, he's good too. I think LaFleur and O'Connell are like right there together. Like they're up and coming. I think McVay is what they want to be. I think, and they're close to doing it. I'm gonna go Harbaugh back to back here at 3 and 2. I'm gonna give the nod to the Raven Harbaugh, and I will go with the Charger Harbaugh at the 3 spot. I think those two resumes speak for themselves, and look at the way that he just came into that Chargers team and completely turned it around from Brandon Staley to Harbaugh. I mean, it's just crazy. And he unlocked Justin Herbert a little bit more, and that defense completely turned around. People want to play there. I think they're going to be a strong team again, and that division is getting a little bit tougher. And then the Ravens, Harbaugh, I mean, he's been doing it so long. The transition from Flacco to Lamar and how successful they were able to do that. Has the Super Bowl under his belt. They got to get over the hump that is Patrick Mahomes, but that's tough. And then Andy Reid's in the 1 spot. Now, with Bill Belichick retired from the league, it's clearly Andy Reid's league. He has Super Bowls with multiple teams. And look at how continuously successful his teams are. And the pick that was Patrick Mahomes kind of solidifies that as well. But yeah, that's my list there. Jesse, you got one for us?
I really don't. I mean, if I
Any
had to
names you
go
like
off,
that we shouted out?
yeah, if I had, I like
We gotta start
yours.
getting. We gotta. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. We gotta get Mackeys too. If we start missing, like if people aren't gonna be here, we should send the list.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of forgot this one snuck up, but if I had to go off the top of my head, I don't think Tom would be in the top 5, even though he does just have a good, consistent record. I don't think he's in the top 5. I do like Jim Harbaugh over John Harbaugh, but that might be because I hate the Ravens. Andy Reid is an unquestionable 1. I like Sean McVay. I like Dan Campbell. Huff, I'm really surprised he wasn't in your top 5.
I had to get some new light in
Off
there
likes
this year.
the offensive minds though. Shanahan and O'Connell are tough to.
McVay too.
Yeah,
Yeah, those 3 are just like the best coordinators you could have.
right.
Yeah.
So how many is that?
I think there's probably once you get past 1, there's like 8 guys you could have in 2 through 5.
There's like 2
Yeah.
different lines of coaches. You have Reed, Harbaugh, Tomlin, Doug Peterson, but then the other side there's guys like McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan, O'Connell. I'd put McDermott there too. They're just like those are great football minds. These are great leaders of
Dan
skilled
Quinn on the other
athletes.
side, I like him as well.
Yeah.
Not
Dan
like
Quinn,
not top
wow.
5, but
Dan Quinn, great pick right there. But can
yeah.
he win the big game? I don't know.
He just might need a couple more good years under his belt, and then
Yeah.
he's on that
He's
list
done it
without
with a
thinking
few
about it.
teams. Didn't he bring Matt Ryan to the Super Bowl? He brought
Yeah,
Aiden
Falcons
Daniels to
team.
the end.
He was the Seahawks defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he definitely has the accolades too. Doug Peterson, that's another guy. I'm eager to see how he does in his new role. That'll be interesting with a very weak team. But
For sure.
they brought him in for a reason. But good rankings there. It's a tough one with the head coaching stuff because some people you could say product of the team, some are coordinators, different things you can look at. But good list all around.
Heck yeah, lots of good stuff out of the NFL as we gear closer and closer to that season with our positional rankings each and every week. We'll make sure to touch on those from all of us each week. But let's jump into the golf world here. The 2025 U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club is finally here. Tournament play teeing off on Thursday, June 12th. Let's take a look at the odds for the winner, top 5, and everything else heading into our third major of the year here. Scotty Scheffler leading the board here for both the winner and the top 5 here. Plus 275 to win, minus 175 to be in the top 5. Bryson behind him at plus 750 to win, plus 160 for the top 5. John Rahm at plus 1,200 with Rory McIlroy at plus 1,200. Those guys sitting at plus 225 and 220 respectively to sit in that top 5. Anybody else you guys want to hear?
No. I have my picks written down, so you're good. I have a couple plays. Obviously, me and Jesse will be there tomorrow, Thursday. Whenever you're listening to this today, June 12th. We'll be boots on the ground at Oakmont watching this.
Oh
This
yeah.
my Thursday play. Everything else is for the whole weekend. Thursday, I'm going with a guy that's been very hot on the PGA Tour the past few weeks. Ben Griffin, round one, on the 3 ball, plus 150 there on MGM. I saw that. I will be sweating that one out in person against, I think it's Andrew Novak. I forget who the other one was, maybe Maverick McNeely in his group for that 3 ball. But I'm also going to go with a Ben Griffin top 20 finish plus 200. I saw that at. I definitely like that one for him to get in that top 20. He's been flirting with Scotty at some of these tournaments. We saw what just happened at the Memorial. He was right there with him, but I like him to get in the top 20 this weekend at Oakmont. My third one is John Rahm, top 10 at plus 100. Like that one. Obviously, like you said, he's third overall to win it as far as odds go. I'm going to go with him to get in the top 10 just at even money. I like that one a lot. My favorite to win it, Scotty Scheffler, plus 280 it is on FanDuel. It's been 275, 280 sitting right around there. So I got the 280 there for Scotty to win it, to win the second or the third major, his second of the year. I just think it's the year of Scotty Scheffler. I think he gets the job done. I took him at the PGA. I'm not going to not take him here. But to give you a value play, I will go with Colin Morikawa plus 2,600 to win the U.S. Open.
I'll
Heck
take
yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna take Scotty Scheffler. And I'll take one more. Who's your most confident outside of Scheffler, Huff?
I'm taking Morikawa and Scheffler.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll tell that. I mean,
Morikawa is
Scheffler's
like 26,
Scheffler's the
25 to
one that's
1.
gonna win me the money, but I'll give someone else's name in the ring. I guess might as well a little donation to the pot while Scotty wins it for us.
He's
What
gonna get
about
the
the
job done.
Huff, real quick? Go over those that tennis recap. I mean, we saw
Oh yeah.
our girl Coco
Oh
Gauff
yeah, dude, I
the
forgot
championship.
about that. I posted Alcaraz in the what was it called? Roland Garros finals up against Yannick Sinner. He was down what? 3, I don't even know how you say
Down,
it.
he was
Sets,
down 2
games,
sets.
match.
He was down
But
2 sets, and in the 3rd set or third match, he was down 30, was it 30 love?
he
He
was
was about
plus he was plus 25,000 at one point.
yeah, that's crazy. He's literally on the one shot
He
away
was
from
one, yeah, he was one serve away from losing.
yeah, that was crazy.
And then he went, obviously turned the table, wins it. That was crazy. I had him at minus 114. That would have been crazy if I would have live bet it, just kind of doubled down, but I would have never done that. So I'm not going to act like I would. But it was like a 5.5 hour tennis match. That was obviously
That's
a
crazy.
little long to watch. I was more kind of tapping in and out. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
sit here and act like I watched all
Great
five and
tennis
a half
match.
hours of it. I was also the same day that I forget what golf was on last week, and I was watching that. But yeah, it was a hell of a match, hell of a comeback. He's that's his 5th major. He's a dog. He's going to be really good for tennis going forward. You're going to see that match a lot between Sinner and him going forward.
What about the old dog Novak getting to the semifinals as well?
Yeah, that was big. I just think these young guns in tennis now. Another guy I
Yeah.
liked is Ben Shelton. He's an American player for he hasn't been in any of these real big moments yet, but
It's coming.
another guy I like. But obviously Tiafo, that's another dude I love. But these two, you're going to see this match again and again and again.
Yeah, I'm not too well versed with the names of them, but I love throwing it on and watching some of the crazy shots they hit. Avid off the record tennis player, but nothing crazy. Yeah. Meanwhile, while you were watching that, I was watching the UFC world, and my boy Sean O'Malley went up against Marab for the rematch, and he got smothered and taken down again. Marab and still winning that belt. Joshua Van, very big up and coming flyweight. He's gonna have his 9th fight in 2 years. I threw it on my Instagram story today, but he's 22, 23 years old, just flying up the rankings. He literally just won last week, and now he's fighting in 2 weeks on International Fight Week against the #1 contender for the flyweight belt, and I think he's going to take him out. He's minus like 250 at 22 years old. His career is going to be crazy ahead of him. We also have the
That's when
Charles
this
Oliveira.
weekend.
No, that's 28th. That's gonna be the best card of the month. It's gonna be Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria facing
Okay.
off to Topuria vacating his belt to move up a weight class and fight Charles Oliveira. That's gonna be a great one. I'm a big Topuria guy by knockout. I have him winning that one. We still have some good fights the rest of this month though. Kamar Usman, Joaquin Buckley, the Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier 3. That's gonna be a cool one to watch too. There's been a couple other big fights announced coming up around the corner as well. So good summer of UFC
Good
cards.
time in the sports world.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And we're all over the leagues, cashing bets in every spot. So it's fun to watch.
Heck yeah, boys. Lots to look forward to here this week. Deep into the NHL finals, deep into the NBA finals, deep in the MLB season, and approaching that NFL season. Lots of UFC, golf, things happening. Anything else to add before we get on out of here?
I think that's it.
No, let's hopefully we get some
Panthers in
extended
6,
series in the
Thunder in
final.
6. Go Scotty Scheffler.
I hope we can get at least one Game 7 between the NBA and the NHL, though.
I don't think we will.
Stress.
Yeah, we'll see.
Alrighty, boys. Good stuff. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok for all our picks daily and all across the leagues. But that's all we got for this week. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We'll see you guys next week.